way, but it's also right there is easy to grab. Anyway,
All
now
right.
we're live.
Now we're live. We are
Yeah.
live. Let's go share this on Facebook real quick.
We are live.
If you're watching this recording later, thank you first for joining us. This is Technorama. We're doing a show about science and sci-fi and tech and having some fun doing it too. So Craig and I have been doing this for 700 episodes. We're just going to socialize this real quick. I just got an alert on my phone. Says, yep, we are live. At least on
Hey, I
Facebook.
just saw some disturbing news.
And
What Annie Weshing? I'm not sure if I'm getting her name right.
oh yeah,
She
40.
played the Borg Queen on Picard season 2. She's not with us anymore.
What
Yeah.
is that? The actress that I just saw the announcement come through and it says she passed away from cancer.
Yeah, she was
Oh, because
45.
they listed her as like appeared on 24 something and other shows. I didn't quite get it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I clicked on something and it
She
moved
was
away. I can't
she
find it
was
here.
Angie? No,
I thought it was Annie Wershing.
yeah, but her character on Picard.
She was the Borg Queen. So
Well, that's what
Annie
she
Wershing.
became eventually, but she played a character the character on most of the first 2 seasons as what was her name? Allie? Annie? Andrea? What? Dang it. All right. Anyway, let's do our show. Let's see. World, business, technology, sports, lifestyle. Would it be in lifestyle? I'm trying to find it on Reuters right now. Oh, that's because it wasn't announced on Reuters. It came in through CNN. Search settings.
Well, apparently
Forget it.
she's been on a bunch of stuff, but yeah.
World politics, business, health, style, travel, entertainment. Annie Wershing, 24. Oh, that's not who I was thinking of. Annie Wershing. You sure she played on Picard?
Yeah, it's all over the place. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Annie
She was in season 2. She was the Borg Queen.
Wershing, Last of Us actress. She was on Star Trek Picard as. Oh, I was thinking of Alison Pill as Dr. Agnes Girardi.
Oh, well, she turned into the Borg Queen.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, no, not her. Yeah, no, not her. The lady that was playing the Borg Queen at the beginning of the whole
Oh, at
season.
the beginning, right? The one who taunted Allison. Okay, gotcha. Well, that's okay. She wasn't coming back as the Borg Queen anyway, because Alison Pill took over that job.
Yeah, look, see, even Clinton's calling you out.
Yeah, I was thinking of Girardi. Thank you, Zoom latency. Let's get our podcast started. This is our typical way of getting listener feedback is be wrong.
Yes, actually, that's advice I've getting somebody before. I think it was on Reddit. They were like, "How do I get my listeners to interact?" I said, "Say something wrong."
You don't have to be controversial. Just be wrong.
Yeah, just be wrong, and oh, okay, and just play it off when you get there. But yeah.
Okay, let us begin then. In 5, 4, 3. Technorama episode 700, past versus present. Hello and welcome to Technorama, the show that takes a lighthearted look at tech, science, sci-fi, and all things geek. This is episode 700. Hooray! Let's celebrate!
Yay!
Past another milestone.
Everybody, 700 times. Hip, hip, hooray.
This
hip,
age,
hip, hooray.
There's only so many birthdays you can celebrate.
I was going to sing the beer bottle song and take one podcast down, pass it around.
For 700?
And then we have 699 podcasts on the wall.
Let's not. So thank you, Craig, for being there for nearly every one of them. And, I wasn't around for nearly every one of them either.
Well,
so
in spirit.
Together, we've done this. And we've got the Star Trek cruise coming up. and we're going to
Yes.
try doing a podcast meetup with some of the other podcasters.
Yeah, actually, I was getting annoyed by Facebook Messenger
Oh
because
my gosh.
not just
They
hey,
they've got these,
Facebook.
like,
Look,
chat
face
subgroups.
look, Facebook rolled out a feature where groups can have chats, and that's great. I think I saw an invitation to turn was it not Dog Days of Podcasting, but Technorama, and you can do it on the
Yes.
Messenger. You get these, you can do subgroups in things. Anyway, so the Star Trek the Cruise, I started getting messages one day. It was like bang, 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 bang. I was like, the heck is going on? I
Oh, and
look and
it's
it's like
still going.
new group, new group, new group. I'm like, great,
There's
and
50-plus-year-old cruisers,
yeah,
Anzac Chat, Body
right.
by Starfleet, Chalice of Reeks,
That's a new one.
Commiserate,
Yeah,
Cosplay Parlor, Craft Traders, General Chat, Karaoke Lovers, LGBTQ+,
yeah,
LGBTQ+,
right.
Unrated, Podcast, Pokemon Go Friends, Southwest Airlines. Do we need a chat group for Southwest Airlines? I don't know.
Yeah,
Star
who
Trek
wants to talk
Card,
about them? So
Tea
anyway,
Earl Grey, low/
yeah.
non-drinkers.
So anyway, it got down. I saw one. I happened to see one. I dismissed it actually on my phone. I went, dang it. And I went, oh, I saw a podcast. So I had to go back in and look. There's a podcast group, and there are other people that are podcasters or specifically Star Trek podcasters. So we'll probably do a meetup or something. I started to say a team up, like, like a super team, super friends. I don't know.
I might have that here. Here we go.
So there you go.
Meanwhile, in Quark's bar.
Yeah. So I'll probably have to yeah, we'll have to set up something here pretty soon and meet up with them.
Pick a day, pick a time. At sea usually works best, but we'll find.
Well, and then I start going where on the ship, and I'm not sure how to. Maybe I get you to coordinate it because you might know better than I would. I don't know.
We gotta see the schedule of events. That's usually published soon, real soon, and then we can go, where's there a gap?
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll do that.
4
Actually,
a.m.
I was thinking, I might have to sneak a recording device on the ship. So if we're doing a
Good.
meetup, what? Maybe we could record something. I don't know.
Or just record some short video clips and paste them together later.
Video of podcasters.
It'll never work.
I don't know.
It'll never
It'll
work. Should we
never
get into our
never work.
should we get into our feedback?
Yeah.
Here we
Yeah,
go.
let's do it. All right.
Ladders. Oh, we get ladders.
Ladders.
Get your ladders.
Ladders.
Every day.
Ladders every day.
Mailman, mail today.
Ladders?
Reach right in and pull one out.
Ring it out. Rung it out. There we go.
I
Ladders.
love those ladders. Let's find out what you got to say.
Oh boy.
Mailman, mail today.
After all these years, you think I could work out the lag. I had to do that before the audio.
All right, our question this last episode on 699 was, what quietly went away without anyone noticing? Well, Technorama's not going down without a fight.
I'll say we haven't.
We're
Actually,
going quietly.
I did have a podcast I kind of let fade away. I don't think I was getting a lot of traction from it. Was Valid Syntax. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
I was doing that for a while. I had a
Oh,
fun.
there's countless podcasts that have pod faded.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm talking about me. There's an important one here. Actually, no, I did Valid Syntax, which was a 10 minutes or less podcast. I was reviewing open source software, and I thought it was all right. I did a little trivia at the end, trying to get feedback. That I'd put up a question, trying to get people feedback. I just wasn't getting a lot of traction on it, and after a while, and I was like, I think I did like 50 episodes. I can't remember, 50, 60. Anyway, so it was a lot of fun though, but move along.
Speaking of feedback, let's get on with our listener feedback. So, what quietly went away? The Britain Yankee Craft Beer Podcast. Oh, we should probably do this. There we go.
Oh,
Says common sense.
oh, I thought you meant the podcast itself. Oh,
No, they're still cranking them out.
you asked the question, said the Britain Yankee Craft Beer Podcast. I went, oh,
Subscribe. Keep
Yeah.
reading.
All right. So Stephen Weshy says the sound of CRT powering down. Yep. And the sound of a PC booting up.
The sound of a CRT. You know what I mean? That thunk you hear.
No,
Clunk.
kind of. I don't know. I was
Mm.
thinking it was more like a little kind of. I don't
Never
know.
could.
I've heard some CRTs powering up. That you don't
Hard.
need to be. You don't need to be nearby.
Stephen Wesher responded to that when he said the A drive check. I think specifically it was iconic. You know, when you power on your machine, it goes.
Sean Hunter replied, and he said, "Yeah,
Oh, Sean Hunter. Yeah, I'm
he
sorry.
said, yeah, the A job check, yeah, because you would hear the drug kind of seek a little bit, and if there's
Yeah,
nothing in it, it would
he said it was a
completely,
little carnival every time you would press the button on that AT case.
yeah, right,
And then Stephen Wesher said, "Indeed, floppy drives were a large part of the boot up sound I was
they
referencing."
were,
Yep.
yeah, they were big time, especially, I want to say those PS2s, those were picky about having a boot, if it didn't have any OS on it, you had to boot up
Yeah.
on that disk to
Even my Apple
configure it.
II still fires up. It goes. "Da, da, 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 dee."
How often do you boot that thing?
About once a year.
Once a year on your birthday to see if it
on,
works.
on its birthday.
It's birthday. That's right. John Kratzer says the screeching sound of a modem. I don't know if did it go away quietly. No, it gets pretty loud.
Oh, speaking of modems, Craig,
Noticeably. Yes.
I was talking with my good friend Scott Reynolds yesterday,
Yep.
and he was showing me some MQTT, so some IoT stuff. And I looked and he showed me like the connection strings for you send a request and you get a response.
Yep.
They are based on the Hayes AT commands. It literally
Right.
started out as request AT plus something, something, something. I went, you gotta be kidding me. I said, nobody's gonna know what that is anymore.
Well, yeah.
The old men are laughing.
Well, yeah. It was a tried and true protocol there. For
Yeah, but we don't use that for like REST APIs anymore.
no, not exactly. But yeah, I don't know. It still it makes sense to me. Yeah, I can see that.
Oh my, it just seemed like, wow, someone really hanging on to the old days.
Yeah.
Steve London also said BBS modem pools, node networks, like FidoNet and X modems. Whom can forget NetMail and Echo Mail?
Hey, BBS modem pools. When I started my ISP, we had a modem pool. Literally, I may have a picture somewhere, but I literally had what 50 modems sitting on a shelf on a rack, above.
These weren't like rack mounted modems, people. They were
No, they were literally
consumer grade.
external modems,
Yeah.
sitting stacked literally on top of
Yep.
each other. And there was about 50 of them. I want to say it was 50. I might have to think about that. But yeah, it's about 50 of them. And people would call in. Of course, I wasn't hearing them. I didn't need to hear them all. But
You can turn off the sound,
yeah, but I had a modem pool, sure did.
I had one too. It was at my house. I had like 6 or 7 of them.
Wait, you had 6 or 7 phone lines?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
We had to add a new line when we moved into our old house in Appleton. It had, what was it? I had 3 lines for the BBS and 1 for our regular voice. And during the night, I would put the voice line up as like a members only line. It's like, hey, I'm not using my voice line, so let's throw it in the modem pool.
Right.
And most people respected that. I think, at one point I had 6. So we dropped in another cable and it had 5 pairs in it, or 5 more lines. So we maxed them all out. Yeah, it was 7343462 was our voice line, 7342204, 7342499 was the main number. So 2204 was a membership line. That's what we had when we were still in the apartment. Then we moved in to the house and we got a couple more lines. I went, oh, let's add them up. So I don't remember what the other lines were. I remember just the 2499 was the main one, 2204, and then 3462. Yeah, why do I remember this stuff? I don't know. I haven't needed it in over 25 years.
I do remember we had Livingston equipment, which I think ended up being bought out by who was Lucent. I think Lucent bought them. So we used those that Livingston concentrator for a long time to hook up all these modems. And then, of course, routed out to a T1, which I loved the T1 when there was nobody on.
I had
Quake!
I had a
Quake!
I had a digiboard multi-port serial port, and for the ones I had like 8 ports on this thing, and with 5 running modems, I used the other 3 for dumb terminals. So we kind of had a LAN party when I was there. I ran a Xenix based BBS, so the multi-user thing was piece of cake. All right, shall we continue? This is pre-Linux days, by the way.
Actually, I was looking. You're making me want to look up my my Livingston Portmaster. That's what it was.
Was that
Now
a
it
like
says,
terminal server?
yeah. So yeah, you hook up all the modems to it. It had all the ports on the back.
Yeah.
It was now it's Lucent, of course. This is Lucent Livingston Portmaster 3, which is I want to say I had a 2 because they seemed a little bigger than this. But yeah, you could hook up all the modems straight to this, and so when people call in, they get IP number, they get on the network, and then they get routed, of course, through another device that would go out through a router, rather, it would go out to the T1.
Somewhere we have listeners going, what are they talking about?
Yeah. Oh, it was
Sorry,
ridiculous.
Anybody
Oh.
under 40?
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I'll probably see a picture of it here. Yeah, this is it right here. So this is here. You know what? I will share my screen real quick. Why not?
Which is great on an audio podcast.
I know, but let's see. Share.
Bonus for the video watchers.
Share screen. Window. I'm almost there.
Yeah. Great listening material right here.
There
I
you
should
go.
probably play the history.
There you go.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah,
So
and on the
box with some LEDs in it. Great stuff.
On the back side is all the ports that you would hook up all the
Understand.
modems to.
Understand.
Yeah.
Can we go on with the history segment?
No.
I'm going to play you out.
Another letter from our listener.
Hey, and I would like to thank my family and the Academy and yeah.
On this day in history for February 1st, 2023, there goes January.
Yeah.
It's the 32nd day of the year in the Gregorian calendar. There are 333 days remaining in 2023. It was on this date in 1884 that the first volume, A to Ant, of the Oxford English Dictionary was published.
Also on February 1st, 1893, Thomas A. Edison finished construction on the first motion picture studio, the Black Maria, Maria, yeah,
Yes.
in West Orange, New Jersey.
Voice of America, the official external radio and television service of the United States government, began broadcasting with programs aimed at areas controlled by the Axis powers. On this date in 1942.
It was also on this date in 1950 that the first prototype of the MiG-17 made its maiden flight.
The Beatles had their first #1 hit in the United States with I Want to Hold Your Hand on this date in 1964.
Have you ever done that in karaoke?
Yes, I've done lots of
Okay.
Beatles.
Okay, I don't think I've ever seen you sing that one. Also on today in 2003, Space Shuttle Columbia disintegrated during the reentry mission of STS-107 into Earth's atmosphere, killing all 7 astronauts aboard.
I was on a ski trip at that point in Marquette, Michigan.
Yeah.
February 1st, 2013, 10 years later, the Shard, the 6th tallest building in Europe, opened its viewing gallery to the public.
Wow.
Happy birthday goes out on this date to German lexicographer, historian, and cryptographer Johannes Tritemius, born on this date in 1462.
Sounds like one of those Latin classifications for a creature of some sort. Johannes Tremidius. Henry Briggs, British mathematician, was born on the same date in 1561.
Born February 1st, 1659, Dutch explorer Jacob Roggeveen.
Lost my place.
Clark
There we
Gable.
go. Oh yeah, Clark Gable.
Giving you the easy ones tonight, bud.
I was trying to read. I was like, that's Jacob. No, it's like Clark Gable, the American actor, was born 122 years ago today.
It was Dutch, so it's Jacob.
I got you. I got you.
February 1st, 1905, Italian-American physicist and academic Nobel Prize laureate Emilio G. Segre.
That's right. And Sam Edwards, whew, that was tough. Welsh physicist and academic was born on the same date in 1928.
Sticking with the Welsh, we have an actor, director, and screenwriter, Terry Jones. Yes, that one from the Monty Python fame. He was
Really?
born
Okay.
today in 1942.
And also born on that same date in 1947, a Scottish computer programmer and politician. What a combination. Minister of the State and of Armed Forces, Adam Ingram.
I thought I recognized that name, but I looked him up, and it wasn't who I thought it was.
You're thinking like the Ingram, the computer Ingram stuff?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Actually, I was thinking of Inman, which made an Apple machine language programming. It was Inman and Inman. But anyway, Rick James. Yeah, the super freak. The American singer, songwriter, and producer was born 75 or was 75.
Yeah. Also turning 62 today is American engineer and astronaut Daniel M. Taney.
American singer, songwriter, and actress Lisa Marie Presley was born on this date in 1968.
And last but not least, American actor and producer Michael C. Hall. He's 52 today. Wow.
Dexter is 52.
That's right.
That could make for some fun comedy on his show at some point. I'm getting too old for this.
Right.
Son, can you lift the body on the table? Listener birthdays this week include February 1st, Matt Baum, a.k.a. Racer X from Pittsburgh, PA. Brandon Kirkwald from Minnesota. February 2nd has 3 birthdays, including our own Patreon member and friend of the show, Gary Lindros, a.k.a. Gary from Jacksonville. Groundhog Day rules! Chuck Provenzano, a.k.a. Pod Lurker, a.k.a. Chuck's evil twin. And Oreo Cookie Monster. Love that. February 3rd is also the birthday of Ewan Campbell McGregor from Scotland. And 2 birthdays on the 7th. Chad W. Smith from Chattanooga, Tennessee. And Brian, the Big BS in PA from Williamsport, PA.
Why does everybody from PA use a bunch of initials?
I don't know. I blame Brad P. from NJ.
I know. That's right.
Must have been a thing at one time. Hey, if it's your birthday and you are not on our calendar, we wish you all the best. Have a happy birthday. And if you'd like to get on our birthday calendar, Craig's going to take down the thing that says that we're still doing the pre-show.
Oh, are we? Okay, there we go.
And put up a thing that says how to get on the birthday calendar. So the viewers can see it's chuckchat.com/birthday. And the listeners can hear what I just said.
Now let the real show commence.
Right. That's the way it was on this day in history for February 1st, 2023.
Yay!
Woo-hoo. Music out. Doink.
Get out!
Which means we get a random blue button.
Good news, anyone?
I don't know if I'd call this good news, but it certainly is interesting news
Mm-hmm.
that scientists have discovered in adult mice. They thought this was previously only in young mice. What they call silent synapses. It's not like the silent majority of voters. Silent synapses are like brain cells in reserve for forming new memories. And they thought, well, there must be a lot of these. You've heard of brain plasticity, right? Where you can rewire the brain for new patterns and whatnot. It's like, hey, I couldn't play the piano before, but if you learn and you study.
People that were injured and learn to walk again, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. So the brain is they refer to it as brain plasticity. And they thought that the plasticity decreases because you just don't have enough of these silent synapses. Synapses are the connections between nerve cells. Okay, so you've got nerve cell A and nerve cell B, and they have these little dendrites that stick out, and there's a gap where chemical messages are passed across. Those are the synapses. And they said, I highlighted some things in here. There's normally some receptors. In the active ones, they are the NMDA. I can't say that slow enough.
I know it sucks.
And normally for active synapses, there's AMPA.
Mm-hmm.
But in the silent ones, they said, hey, let's look at those. There were no AMPA. They only had one kind. They said, could this be a sign that we might have a silent synapse? So they looked a little further. And if you look even closer, along the little long, like finger-like projections out from the nerve cell, the dendrite, the axons. Excuse me. They find these smaller structures called philopodia. That's not someone who preys on children. That's a
I hope not.
pedophile. Okay. And
Pedophile.
they said, "Oh,
Pedophile.
well, where we find these philopodia," I hope I'm saying that close. I'm not a neuroscientist. They said there's strong support for the theory that philopodia represent silent synapses within the brain. And philopodia allow a memory system to be both flexible and robust. You need flexibility to acquire new information, but you also need stability to retain the important information. So you
Right.
got to maintain the connections that are already there with these uh, receptors, the NMDA and the AMPA. It sounds like the people who make your motion pictures or something, but it's not.
Those are the people that censor and judge your film. What
I'm
rating?
I'm up for more brain science, especially as we learn more about brain disorders like Parkinson's,
Oh,
or
absolutely, yeah. Or
this could help us tell more about
Alzheimer's.
how these work. Alzheimer's, the other one. Yeah, I went to a talk one time in Marquette, Michigan. They did this at the microbrew. They called it Science on Tap. So they get somebody from the local university who gets up and
Cool.
does like a little TED talk
Uh-huh.
while you're at the microbrew. Science on Tap, and he talked about that. So Alzheimer's is like a subtractive thing. You're losing memory connections,
Right.
whereas Parkinson's is an additive. You're like getting
Too
motion
much.
where you don't want
Yeah.
motion. And he
Right.
talked about the difference in how that's handled and the effects that the job that the proteins do, et cetera. It was very fascinating.
Yeah.
So kind of got me started reading these kinds of articles. I think this is wonderful research, and more power to you. We also have another story in the news from
Yeah.
TechCrunch about, we've heard a lot about ChatGPT. You can't swing a dead Cat 5 cable without hitting
I know, right?
a ChatGPT
I know. Everybody's worried about their jobs and everything else that's gonna be eliminated by GPT.
Well, here comes another one because Google has come up with one called Music LM, a machine learning, although I don't know why it's LM instead of ML, but you
Learning machine.
okay. Loud machine, loud
Yeah.
music. I don't know.
Right.
We'll
Yeah.
figure out. It took me long enough to figure out what the GPT stood for.
What was
They
it?
are
Whoa, 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 whoa,
creating.
whoa. Wait a minute. What
Oh,
was it?
it's GPT. It's generative pattern training.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm close on that.
Hmm.
I don't recall it offhand. It's not burned into memory. See, it's still working its way through those silent synapses.
Right.
But anyway,
Yeah.
Music LM took a sampling of 280,000 songs, different genres and whatnot, so that you could do similar thing. You could type in, "I'm looking for a song like this," and holy doodle, I want something like this because it'd be great for making promos or podcast music or whatever.
Yeah.
The
Oh, yeah, yeah,
problem
yeah,
is
yeah.
it's not robust enough. And I said, "Why can't we have this?" They said, "Ooh, we got to turn it off for ethical reasons right now. It's not public because the sample size is still too small, and we're getting what I would call leakage of the original material into the final product, where somebody could go, 'Hey, that sounds an awful lot like George Harrison.'
Yeah.
Okay, so they're not quite there yet, but the samples they did have were rather interesting
Yeah.
about, hey, make me a song that is based on music that could come from a movie about
Yeah.
our
There's a
culture.
singer, and they do. Yeah. Kind of.
Well, they,
Yeah.
they don't quite have the lyrics. In some
No.
cases, they can get some oohs and ahs in there.
Yeah. It didn't have the lyrics, but it had people. Was it a rap? I'm trying to remember what it was.
It's not terribly complex yet. So, but what I heard from the samples is just like, this would be perfect for bed music, better than the garage band loops I'm throwing together.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Oh, I want some circus music that whatever we're doing. I'm just saying
And
for
you get
anything.
this.
Yeah.
Oops, not that.
Yeah.
That's this one. Circus
Yeah.
music.
I
Here's
need a
circus.
marching band that sounds like they lost the competition.
So
So no, this is I
interesting.
thought it sounded great. some of the
I
samples.
hope that they resolve this and can release it because I'd be all over this more than I'd be over the artwork thing from OpenAI.
I know, right? Yeah.
But it is kinda scary in a way when you think about the job implications because you thought, "Oh, the people that have to create creative content like this will, oh, AI and machine learning, that'll be like the last thing they get to because it's so complex." I was like, well, the first thing that ChatGPT took down was creative writing, creative artistry, and now we've got music. Like, oh, what job can you do that's somewhat protected?
Yeah.
Program AI.
Assembling a car.
You can program the AIs that take the rest of your friends
Yeah.
out jobs.
Hey, speaking of AI, I don't know how much AI is involved in this. And do you remember I sent you a screenshot of what was misunderstood when I said I was trying to build a shopping list?
Yes.
So I'll put I was using Google Voice on my keyboard on my phone, and I said eggs, added eggs, milk, added milk, and I said corn.
Corn checks.
I
Yeah.
said corn checks very clearly. I said corn checks, and it said P asterisk 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 chicks. I went whoa, what?
Porn chicks. I wanna know where you picked those up. Send pictures.
I was like whoa, huh?
Yeah. The,
That was funny.
there was something else in there.
Stupid. Hey, I was going to tell you what. I posted that on Mastodon,
Mhm.
and Dave Slusher came back and says, "I think that reflects the training set."
Probably. It's
my
usually the
my
first ones to
personal
jump on that.
my personal training set. Oh no, hope not.
Alright, shall we do the hacks and strange stories?
Yes, let's move along.
On that note. So we have a story about how head trauma actually freed this man up from his screen addiction.
Which is sad because you shouldn't need something so bad.
No, and he said, "Let this be a lesson," not so much a lesson, but let this be a hint to you
Right.
of what you could do. And this is similar to the story we covered a couple of weeks ago about the guy who went off the grid and, feels like he's living a much richer lifestyle, more meaningful lifestyle without paying electric bills and whatnot.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
so he said he was putting dishes away, stood up too quickly, the cupboard clonked him in the head and caused him vision problems. And, from then on, he couldn't deal with bright screens, which included his phone and his
Mhm.
computer and television and whatnot, so decreased
Sure.
his screen time. He started using Siri a bit more to voice communicate with, but also found that, again, more meaningful relationships in his life because
Yep.
he wasn't glued there, less stress because he wasn't constantly reading these stories and tweets and whatnot. I mean, we've all heard this uh, over the last few years about people that are getting wound around. Um,
I've
the
complained
lights.
about that, and you minimized my complaint.
But it made me think, as we talked about our goals, both professional and personal for
Mhm.
2023, this should be on one. It's like, what are some ways that I can decrease my screen time?
Yeah.
Well, you said podcasts are one way. Listening to podcasts isn't screen time.
No, but subscribing to them, you got to get them in there somehow.
No, you can tell your voice assistant to do that.
You can.
So I thought it was an interesting perspective on things and just kind of wakes you up
You
to.
know, when I was reading through this, and he was saying, "Oh, this gave me a chance to actually make more connections with people and live a different life." I
Mhm.
was like, what sucks is like because of this tech, that that was the world you were born into. This other stuff is all this fluff. Kind of
Not following you.
what I'm getting at is like this was the world you and I had growing up. There weren't screens. We had video games and stuff like
There's
that. Maybe some
television. I
program
mean, we got this
television.
back in the '60s, '70s, '80s, like, "Oh,
Different
television
ways,
about your
in
brain."
different ways, but I can tell you right now, but I've had more deeper relationships probably because back then than I have now. However, I will say that I've made more connections now than I have back then because I'm able to connect with a lot more people. So
Yeah, there is an advantage to having the electronic connections. Like, hey, I've reconnected with people I haven't talked to in over 40 years. That's pretty nice.
yeah, absolutely. So the thing is even though there may be electronic connections between people nowadays,
Mhm.
it's up to you to make that a deeper connection. And don't worry about the technology so much. Go see those people in person, or make a phone call. I'm just saying, there's ways to not let the phone be the only communication device between you and somebody else.
I'm going to reach out to every one of my 28,000 followers on
Yeah,
LinkedIn
you
personally.
know what I'm
I'll
saying.
talk to you on Saturday.
Well, I've mentioned before I use Todoist
Mhm.
to make recurring tasks for myself to remember to contact people I care about. I go, yeah, rather than it being like 5 weeks and you go, well, I haven't spoken to that person in a while or a couple of
Right,
months.
right.
I just randomly have it, or not randomly, I have it every so often, uh, the recurring task to contact people. So use things
Apparently, I'm
that
not on
way.
your list. I haven't talked to you in ages.
Yeah, a whole 7 days or
7
less.
days, how about a
Unless
few
they
hours?
actually that's a few hours. That's right. Anyway, you get the idea. That's what I'm saying. Don't let
Craig, I'm texting you to make sure you got my Facebook message to ask whether you got my email that I called and left your voicemail.
Yeah, believe me, I get plenty of those. I get plenty of those from work. Hey, can you follow up on this? I'm like, yeah.
Clinton says, "Trust me, people get mad.
Oh,
Oh,
I was trying to bring it up for you.
people get mad when you don't constantly check for messages on the interwebs. You know
Yeah,
what? It's called an inbox. I'll check it when I darn well can."
that's right. Hey, I can't remember if I mentioned this on this show or on our parody show, but I have those recurring tasks, like I said, to contact people. And one of those was my friend Fred, which I think it was like every Wednesday it says Ping Fred. That's all it says.
Mhm.
And so one day I was really busy. It's like, I'll just catch up with him next week. So I dismissed it. Well, then after pinging him on Wednesdays every so often, he finally goes, "Hey, what are you doing?" It was like on the Wednesday that I decided not to contact him. So I got him in a rhythm of
Mhm.
contacting me as well, or looking forward subconsciously or not. I don't know, but he pinged me. I was like, well, that was weird because I thought I'll just catch him next week. Anyway,
All right, we gotta
repetition.
move on to our next story.
All
This
right.
one
Yeah, yeah,
came
yeah.
in on CNN, yesterday as we're recording this. I saw it. The headline made me just wanna send it to Craig and say, "Add this to the show."
Oh
In
yeah.
Japan, pet fish playing Nintendo Switch run up bill on owner's credit card. That was just too good to pass up.
Yeah.
So, the
I
story
know,
is
right?
this guy's got fish in a tank, and he's got a map on the bottom of the tank, and as the fish swim over, up arrow, down arrow, left, right, A, B, uh, they actually control his Nintendo Switch, and he's put this on YouTube, and he's got people watching and lots of followers to see what the fish will do. Well, what the fish ended up doing, I think I highlighted some things in this story. I gotta bring up the article, see if I got this highlighted. Uh, it's it starts out, I love just the opening line of this. "Here's something you don't see every day. Pet fish playing a video game in Japan managed to log on to a Nintendo Switch store, change the owner's avatar, set up a PayPal account, and rack up a credit card bill."
Stupid fish.
Never leave your fish unattended.
That's funny.
Use your password authentication for every purchase. Fish knows password. It was great. Says,
Hey, turns out this is the fish that hacked into LastPass and stole their database.
Mutakamaru, which is the guy's name I'm pronouncing poorly, had stepped away for a break when the game crashed due to a system error and the console returned to the home screen. But the fish carried on swimming like fish
Right.
tend to do and seemingly continued to control the console remotely from their tank. I could just see this fish with with the controller in the
Yeah.
water.
A, B, up, down, right, left, right, A, B. There you go.
During the next 7 hours, the fish reportedly managed to change the name of the owner's Switch account before twice logging into the Nintendo store where users could purchase games and other downloadable content. They also managed to, quote, check legal terms and conditions. Wow, humans don't even do that. The fish are more interesting than we are.
Yeah.
Downloaded a new avatar and even set up a PayPal account from the Switch, sending an email out to the owner in the process. Video from the live stream appeared to show. Yeah. Fish.
That's funny. You know what's funny? Is those fish had no idea they were doing that, just swimming around.
Did they?
I don't know.
Did they? Were they really that ignorant? Or the fish like cats and they're just going to take over the world when
I imagine the fish was like, can I eat this? Can I eat this? Can I eat this? No. Keep going. Keep going. Can I eat this?
Can I buy
His
this?
account.
Can I
Yeah,
buy
can I buy
this?
this?
Can I buy
Oh,
this?
yeah.
Cling! You bought
Can I-
it.
Can I make Mario jump?
Clinton says, sounds fishy. That's why he's got the comedy podcast, ladies and
Doesn't it?
gentlemen.
I know. I know. Right?
Dad jokes. They're a wonderful thing when they work. Like the internet. All right, quick shout out to the chat room. That is it for the Hacks and Strange Stories. But we want to let you know that we do the show at 8 p.m. Eastern now. We moved it up a little bit so people can catch us a little earlier if that works for you in whatever time zone you're in. We are on Facebook and YouTube, and we've got a number of people watching. Thank you very much. Hanging out in the chat room on Sunday nights, 8 p.m. Again, Facebook and YouTube. We'd love to see you there. Join in our evil chat. No, live chat. Sorry. I had dyslexia on that one word.
There was an E in front of live.
Oh, it's live backwards is evil.
That's
It also
right.
spells Levi if you mess it up. It's a
Yeah.
great anagram. All right, let's go on to we have a Remember When story, which I absolutely love. I got to bring this up while I play the music. There we go. Many of our listeners have probably already heard of this device. It's what's regarded as the world's oldest computer. It's called the Antikythera device, and it was found on a Roman-era shipwreck in Greece around 1901, so over 100 years ago.
Yeah.
And it looks like this rusted-out bunch of gears that are just stuck together.
Honestly, you know what it looks like? It looks like a bank vault kind of,
or submarine door with the wheel.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's the biggest gear, but if you look closer behind that one, you can see other gears and cogs and bits and pieces. Well, this is only about a third of the device, and it's in 82 fragments. The biggest they call fragment A, and they x-rayed that and many of the others, and they said, well, even though this is a third of the device, we still got to make some speculation. They believe this is for calculating the position of the sun, the moon, eclipses, etc. Now, think about this, people. This is 2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Like 2nd century BC. And they had this precision instrument with, the piece they've got had like 27 gears in it.
That's
and they
amazing.
said that's a third of it. They said they're estimating about 50 to 60 in the total thing. Like, wow, this is this stuff. You don't think about that like back in Jesus' time. Like, seriously, this is what we're talking about.
Yeah,
like,
right.
What? That's nuts, man. The guy's walking around with a Rolex and a thing that predicts.
I can explain this with one word.
Yes.
Aliens.
No. But it does make you wonder what else was out there that we've lost to time.
Yeah, there's no telling, man.
This is impressive stuff. Yeah, Mike Robinson. It was the Infinity Stones. Well, sure, but did it have VisiCalc?
No, we had that 10,000 years ago.
It was 10,000 years ago. A CPM machine.
That's right.
So pretty darn cool that what they did is they took layered x-rays, almost like a CT scan. And then they could see deep inside this and figure out how many gears there were, what the relationship was, and draw speculation from there. I'm not sure how they figured out what was on the front panel of this machine, since it clearly doesn't have one now.
No, but their little illustration has. It's like I'm trying to figure out where they got that information.
They did a blow apart of what they know today. So.
Well, no, I meant like it looks like the front of it has some kind of wording to figure out.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's insert flap A into slot B, and then you turn the crank on the side.
Yeah.
Out comes the little clown.
Little clown. That's right.
That's all it was. It wasn't calculating solar eclipses. It was a Jack in the Box for
Right.
some dude's kid. Okay. That's what we have, and we want to move on to the patrons. Thank you to our patrons. You make this show possible for as little as $1 a show. Craig's going to put the URL on the bottom of the screen while I
I'm getting
proudly
there.
read out the names of the people who have contributed to keeping this show going. Alexis Duran, Amber Elstad, Amy Bowen, Abner Braverman, Ben Vaughn, Brian Brown, Chris Martinez, Chris MC, Dandy Mancoyer, Dean Jensen, Denise Inglis, Birthday Boy, Gary Lindros,
Yep.
John Clifford, John Noble, Yorga Shrowen, Crazy Joe Adventures, Kyle Nishioka, Leon, Mark Kilfoyle, Brad Miller, who made that cool 3D thing I showed you a couple of weeks ago.
I know. I still need to
Did you-
order that thing.
Did you get one?
No, I haven't got one yet.
You did order one. Okay, where was I? Crazy Joe, Kyle, Leon, Mark, Brad, Mike Wills, Saturday Morning Media, Stephen Weshy, Steve Therian, Steve Cody, Steve London, and Tim Cook. Thank you, everybody, for your contributions, for your donations, your continued support for the program. We invested as wisely as possible to pay for bandwidth and audio production and domain registration, et cetera, et cetera. So it's not going into like some beer fund. That's not happening. It's not paying for our cruise, although we wish, and that's not where it's going.
Right.
And we do return some favors along the way, like an extra bit of content for you, our after show, our Patreon show, where we have exclusive backstage discussions and postcards that we send out from DragonCon or other events, and t-shirts for our premium level. So check it out, patreon.com/Technorama podcast. You are the great people. We love you. That's all I'm going to say. So thank you. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Shall we continue on with Hand Me the Remote? Let's talk about what we've been watching.
Yay.
I had one on my list last time that I watched, but I didn't get it on the list because it was already a long list, and I didn't want to drag it out any further than that.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
The Aviator.
Yes.
It's a come on, I can see his face. I'm having another senior moment. here.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yes, I knew it started with an L. Thank you. Leonardo DiCaprio portrayed Howard Hughes in this film. It's 20. It's been a while. It's been out for a while.
Yeah.
2003, 2004. Because he looks very young. Way younger than like Revenant Leo. Interesting story. He was an eccentric man. He was a bit quirky. They covered a lot of the actual events that happened, like the plane crash, the fire he was in that disfigured him a bit, and caused him to walk with a cane after that. Probably got a little more eccentric after that. His relationship with Katharine Hepburn and Kate Blanchett does a wonderful Katharine Hepburn. Galadriel Kate Blanchett.
Yep.
It's like at first, like, oh, that smile. I know her. And then you kind of lose that it's Kate Blanchett and Galadriel. You go, okay, that's a pretty darn good, especially when she starts doing that thing with her hand under her chin and like nailed it. Okay.
Yeah. She was also in Thor Ragnarok. Remember that?
Yes. Fun movie. The Aviator. I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
You got one?
That was a good movie. I've seen it. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but yeah. So the next one, it's a series on Peacock called Poker Face. It's by Ryan Johnson.
And Lady Gaga.
What?
Poker Face, Lady Gaga.
No. So no. It's I'm trying to remember what's her name? Leon Natasha Leon. She was on Orange is the New Black.
Okay.
She plays not a detective really, but she has this her character has this ability to tell when people are lying or not. So not a superpower or anything, just has this innate ability to do that. So she was originally betting on poker games, and she was making a bunch of money. She would never lose. Well, it got around anyway. long story short, this guy figured it out that owned a casino, called her out. She's blackballed, but he gave her a job. And then that's kind of where this goes. Somebody at the casino wants her to help her.
See if people are cheating.
Well, no, they want him, they want her, he wants her to help uh, take this one guy. They call him a whale. He's got a lot of money. He
Right.
comes to the casino often, take his money. Well, turns out her friend got killed and she starts working that. She's like asking questions. She realizes people are lying about it or she's figuring it out. Anyway, that's kind of the first episode. She busts the wrong people. I don't want to spoil the first episode. She busts the wrong people. Anyway, she goes on the run because they're after her. And then as she's on the run, kind of like the Incredible Hulk, where he had different jobs everywhere he went, right?
Mhm.
Everywhere she goes, there's always somebody that dies, and she starts kind of working on it because she's like, "Oh, that's not right. They're lying," and she starts working it. It's a very good show. It's a great detective kind of show. She's not a detective, but it's a great kind of murder mystery thing. They show you the murder at the beginning, but it's her figuring it out afterwards is the fun part. It's really a great show. Um, there's 4 episodes out as of today, as of this writing, and I think comes out every Thursday. So I highly recommend it. Her character reminds me a lot of Columbo. The way she goes, well, that's the weird thing I noticed. She has that. Oh, and one more thing, kind of character.
Yeah.
Like Columbo. It's just like that. It's great. It's a great show. So I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. That's on Peacock. So yeah, I know another streaming service, but Peacock's not too expensive, I don't think, in itself. So it's worth it.
Next one I got is called Quincy. This is also on Netflix.
I've seen Quincy with Jack Klugman. Oh man, he was awesome.
It's murder, Sam. I'm telling you, murder. No. This is Quincy Jones, the big
Oh yes,
movie and music producer.
Mhm.
Great story. Great story. Covers his childhood, how his mother was taken away when he was 7 years old, how he's turned to music, like at age 14, he started performing, and he made friends with Ray Charles.
Yeah.
And Ray Charles was 16. He's like, "Oh, it's great to hook up with someone who is older and wiser." It's like 16.
Funny. Yeah.
It was kind of sad in a way because he's still going into his 80s and he's had a number of brushes with death himself, including an aneurysm and a near double aneurysm. He still bears the scars on his head from that procedure. He, just there was some crazy stuff like, hey, he just like collapsed. But he's still with us, and but all his friends are gone. Well, it kind of builds up to the opening of the museum in New York. I can't remember the name of it, but they mention this all through the show, and they keep cutting back to it and say, "Hey, get Oprah on the line, get Will Smith on the line, call so and so." It was during President Obama's time, so this was like pre-2016
Right.
when they opened this up and made this the feature. So the video is a few years old. I did some checking. Quincy Jones, as of this recording, was still alive. I think he's 89 now.
Oh yeah, he's up there now. Yeah.
And he's still continuing to invest in like new artists. So it's kind of crazy. The new artists, I mean, these people are in their teens and 20s in many cases going, they know who Quincy Jones is. They respect him. And he's so humble and like, "Hey, you guys are the talent. You're the future of music." But because he got that from like Count Basie and Dizzy Gillespie, all these people that came before him. He said it was one of these, I stand on the shoulders of giants, so I'm going to let people stand on my shoulders too. That way I keep lifting people up. I mean, just a really cool guy. Sad in some spots, like I mentioned, because these people are gone. Michael Jackson being one of them. I mean, that's kind of when I started learning about Quincy Jones, was in the late 70s, early 80s. And then, of course, when he became the producer for Michael. But he had a long career before that, starting in
Right.
the early 50s.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's like, wow,
Oh
just
yeah. He's been around. Oh yeah, for a
over
long time.
70 years in the business. I don't think I can last. I'm lucky to last barely over 40.
I know, right? Yeah, right. Well, that's cool. I'll have to check that one out. That's on Netflix, right?
Yeah, I watched that one. I watched several others on uh uh David Geffen had one. Uh there were some others. So Netflix has my number on documentaries now.
Right. Well, the next one I saw, which I am totally not going to recommend, was Amsterdam, and it's although it's got like every A-lister you can imagine in there in
Just
this
bad.
movie, it just didn't work. It does not work. I mean, at
Sometimes
first I
that
was
happens.
well, I was watching. I was like, okay, I like this. Kind of quirky, and everything's kind of working out. No, it just did not settle with me at all at the end. So basically, it's set in the 30s. I'll read the little line here. It says it's set in the 30s. It follows three friends who witness a murder, become suspects themselves, then uncover one of the most outrageous plots in American history. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to explain. I mean, it had everybody in it from Christian Bale, Margot Robbie, Taylor Swift was in it, which that kind of blew me away.
Hmm.
Uh, Anya Taylor Joy, who was on the chess show, The Queen's Gambit
Queen's Gambit.
on Netflix. Yeah, Rami Malek. Even had Robert De Niro in it. But no, it just didn't work. So
Okay.
that's all I got to say
Strike
about that.
Amsterdam. Not to be
Yeah.
confused with New Amsterdam, which is a show on NBC or ABC. I forget which one.
Okay.
Okay. My final one is related to the music industry again and includes Rami Malek. It's
Oh yeah.
another music documentary called The Show Must Go On, The Queen plus Adam Lambert story.
Why was
Very
Rami
interesting
Malek in it? Just because he was
because he
pretty?
played Freddie Mercury.
I was gonna say. Okay. All
I
right.
mean, he knew, he had to study for that, so he knew a number of
Sure.
things.
Yeah.
Brian May and Roger Taylor are the two remaining band members. I don't know what happened to John, the bassist. I don't know if he just decided not to come back in this reincarnation, but it's all about the rebirth of Queen. Obviously, after Freddie Mercury died, they kind of went, well, that's it. They had a tribute concert and kind of hung up their cleats for that. Um, but then they brought in, oh, what was his name for a couple of years. They went on tour
Adam
with,
Lambert.
no, not
Oh,
Adam Lambert.
oh, they sang with a lot of different people.
Yeah, there
Mike,
was one. Go
Michael.
ahead.
Uh, oh my God, well, my mind went
Yeah,
blank.
I can't remember his name either, but yeah, they went on tour with Queen plus so and so, and they did all right, but he just didn't have that stage presence they were looking for. And then Adam Lambert was rising up through the stars on America's Got Talent. I think that's what it was. Yes,
Yes, yeah.
it
We
wasn't.
actually Kim and I. That was when Kim and I actually were watching.
Yeah,
Were watching America's Got Talent, and we are like, "Hey, this guy's pretty good."
and he
And then he ended
started
up,
this, but he
yeah,
came in second. But for the final, they
George
were doing,
Michaels. Oh my God, that's what I was trying to think of.
yeah,
George Michael sang in front of him too.
for a
There was
while. Yeah,
Yeah, there
that's
was a
not
lot
who
of
I
different
was
people.
thinking of, but
Yeah,
yeah, and they just didn't feel like any of them really jived until they did that finale of America's Got Talent with Adam
mhm,
Lambert and the guy who actually won that I can't remember his name. Uh, Adam went and did a solo album or two and was establishing himself. He was doing an awards show or something, a live concert. I can't remember, live on TV, and he went off script and did some things that were not acceptable when you don't tell your producer what you're gonna do. He was just kind
right.
of, inspired by the moment, but
Mm,
not family friendly.
yep.
Um, and that kinda took him down a peg, but he came back with a song that quite literally said, "Hey, this is who I am. What do you want from me?" I think that was the name of the song. What are you looking for from me, or what do you want from me?
Yeah.
Uh, and they started having discussions with Queen, and they both knew that it clicked really well. Now, if you're looking to go to a Queen concert and expect to see Adam doing an impersonation of Freddie, you're not gonna see it. He does
No.
his own thing. He's
Yeah.
got his own style to these songs, and that
Right.
took me a while to kinda warm up to. Like, He's just not doing this song right. He's doing it his way, and that's cool too. In fact, Roger even says that. He says, if you're looking to come and see, a Freddie impersonator, you don't come.
No.
If you want to,
Exactly. And it should, and you know what? He shouldn't, because Freddie was very unique to begin with.
yeah.
Who and everybody loved him, so at least especially his music. So how could you impersonate him? There's no way. There's no way.
And Adam said, I wouldn't be here if it weren't for Queen, and Queen wouldn't be here if it weren't for Adam. And, it was just a kind of a neat symbiotic relationship. Adam is still doing some personal projects alongside all this collaboration.
Mhm.
So kind of cool. The thing that struck me, Craig,
Yep.
it was near the end. It was about 10 minutes from the end. They're showing they played in Japan, and they had a great revival there. They played a lot of the venues on their first tour. They were doing
Yep.
a
Yep.
second tour through the US. And I had to stop and freeze frame this thing. I went, holy crap. They show them playing in Las Vegas. They're in the dressing room. Like, well, that looks kind of familiar, but I don't know one dressing room from another. Then they come down the stairs and they're walking down the backstage corridor. And I went, I know exactly where that is. It's backstage at the Dolby Theater in Las Vegas, where I signed my name on the wall.
Are you serious? Oh, wow.
It's very distinctive, Craig. You're backstage and there's wires running along the ceiling. It's mostly drywall, so it's a pretty clean backstage. There's wires running along the wall. They go over, but the key thing is they've got diamond plate. That shiny steel stuff that you see like on pickup trucks.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
From about 4 feet down, the lower part of the wall, because as you're pushing AV carts and whatnot, you run into the drywall. You're going to damage
yeah.
you run
Right.
into you run into diamond plate, you ruin the AV cart.
Right.
So it's very distinctive. And I went, what the? They walked right by where I signed my name. Obviously, they were there first.
Yeah.
So I took a picture of my TV screen and sent it to my co-MC, Shawnee. And I went, look where they were. And she's like, OMG. We thought Aerosmith was pretty cool. It's like,
That's
Queen
awesome.
was there.
Yeah.
I was just kind of freaking out. I was like, what the heck is wrong with you?
Yeah. They were there 10 years ago, Chuck. It's okay.
No, it wasn't that long ago. It was like 2018, 2019.
Right.
I backed up the video and I watched the dressing room again. And she says, yeah, that looks a lot like the picture you sent me. Like same mirrors, same tables. I don't think it was the same exact room.
Right.
But I recognized the carpet because when they showed him walking down the hall, it's like, no, I was right out. They didn't take the elevator because the elevator's too damn slow.
Right.
Slower than a hospital elevator. But it was a lot of fun to watch the show, and then that kind of capped it off. I went, woo, I was there.
I was going to tell you that Adam Lambert is about around that same time. Kim and I were watching. We don't watch any of those anymore, any of those kind of competition shows. But the one show we were watching was NXS Rockstar, where NXS was looking for a new lead singer
Sure.
to replace Michael Hutchins. And one of the girls, she didn't win, but her version of the song was, at least for me especially, I loved it so much. I liked it better than original. She did Man Who Sold the World. Her name was Jordis Unger. And every once in a while, I remember it. I'll go pull it up on Spotify and listen to it. So you can find it on Spotify. She did that song. That's probably one of the best versions of that song I've heard. She is great. And I wish she had won that show, but they ended up picking another guy who didn't work out with the band. So as well as Adam Lambert. So
there were some songs that he really, really did well. Obviously they were different, but right after the Pulse shooting in Atlanta, where the guy shot up the club.
Yeah. Yes.
The next night, I believe they were somewhere in Europe. I forget where the exact venue was, Belfast, Amsterdam, something like that. And he dedicated the song Who Wants to Live Forever to those people. And man, he crushed it.
Really?
I mean, it was really good. Even Brian May said, I've never heard it. No, I'm sorry. I think it was Roger said, I've never heard it done quite like that. It was so yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right. We are at the end of the show. We are at the top of the hour. So thank you very much for everybody listening along.
Yeah.
Our question for you for next time. Where do you get these?
I made this one up.
If
This is mine.
aliens make themselves known to us, what's the first thing you introduce to them?
Silly putty.
Craig. If they introduce me, I'd say,
Oh,
here's my friend
Technorama.
Craig. There's no intelligent life here. Beam me up.
Right.
All right. So you think about that. We'll post
Look
it
at
on
there.
social media.
Oh, thank you, Clinton. Okay, congrats on 700.
Congrats on 700. Yep. 700 ago. I think he passed 700. He passed us a while ago. And I know Astronomy Cast is around here too, and they take a few weeks off during the summer months. So we just kind of skip, hop, and jump around the calendar. And if something personal comes up,
Yeah.
we'll let you know. Speaking of which, we do have that Star Trek cruise coming up, so we won't have a show. What is it? What's the date on that, Craig?
March
No.
something.
No, I don't think it's March 1st because that's a Wednesday. It's like the 28th, 29th. No, that's January. It's the 26th of February. We will not be broadcasting. The 1st of March would be the date of the release. So
Yeah.
we will be having a week off. But we've got 2 or 3 more weeks to go before then. The 5th, 12th, and 19th. I don't see anything getting in the way of that. No
Nope.
travel coming up.
Until May.
Still May. Yep,
That's right.
it's rock solid from here on out.
There you go. We will introduce them to Spam or Grumpy
Grumpy
Cat.
Yeah. Imagine what would be on the disc of Pioneer 1 if it went out today.
I think you know what I would introduce them to. Yeah, actually, you know what we should have put on Pioneer 1? The Dark Side of the Moon from Pink Floyd.
They only have one moon? The moon?
Yeah.
That's not very original. The
Dark
moon.
Side of the Moon. The Moon.
Pretty
Oh.
egotistical to say the moon.
No, what we should
have
do is
12 moons.
we should introduce them those aliens that were on Sesame Street. Beep, beep, beep.
What?
Ring.
The moon.
Ring,
The moons of
ring.
Meep. No, that wasn't Sesame Street. I thought that was Muppet Show when they were on the moons of Meepzorp.
No, there were those aliens that you see at Dragon Con. They people.
Oh yeah, the big colorful ones.
They just got eyes that almost look like Cookie Monster a little bit. But
right.
You know, mouths just above it. Anyway.
Okay. All right, that takes care of us for this show. We are going to play this.
Hey, or Mr. Rogers. I introduced him to Mr. Rogers. There you go.
Introduce something good, quality, shows our intellects. There's not much of that left.
The show Married with Children. There you go.
Oh, play. The Simpsons.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, everybody. If you want to get in touch with us, you can call 707-530-2428. That's 707-530-CHAT. Text or call. It's one way to do it. You can also email us, technorama@chuckchat.com. We'd love to hear from you. So don't forget, you can always sign up or upgrade on the Patreon page. Until next time, Craig, give us a big binary high five.
All right. 700. I mean, 101. Something like that, right?
700 sounds more like a Unix file permission. Wait till we get to 777. They're going to throw us out if we do that recursively.
The owner has all permissions, but everybody else, yeah.
It should be your home directory.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. That takes care of our live broadcast. We are going to sign out. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We appreciate it. Thank you for watching later, if you're watching later. And we will be recording our Patreon show momentarily, which you can listen to Monday if you are a Patreon subscriber.
Momentarily. If you
mere seconds in the geological clock of the earth. All right. Thank you, everybody. Take care.
Bye.